Welcome to PNW Prop Stars, the only Seahawks only gambling show in the multiverse, and we have a special celebration. Sure, our Seahawks, well, they barely missed the Super Bowl this year, boys, but it's not stopping us from getting together to discuss the props, the parlays, and all the fun on PNW Prop Stars for the Super Bowl game, because you know what? Something's going to make this Super Bowl a lot more fun. Brandon's with us. Brandon, how you doing as our guest star on PNW Prop Stars, man?
I mean, you have to have the league champion on for the final Super Bowl show, right? I mean, was I the only one who finished in the green this season? I feel like I was.
Well, the math, the math checks out there, Adam. Before we do toss it over to the man, what do you think of Brandon's? I don't know, the 3-card Monty he's got going on there.
I don't think he has enough qualified attempts to qualify for the award, so I'm going to say no.
I love it. I think that's right. All right. So that does mean, of course, last and not least is Mr. Wilson Kahn. Wilson back on the East Coast, I think, right now. I think I could see that. Wrapping up your senior year at Princeton. I mean, the time flew by for me, guys. Wilson, how is that senior year rocking for you?
Yeah, well, you know what? It feels like sophomore year all over again, Clinton, because it's the Eagles and the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. The game that I'm sure everyone wanted to watch again. Lots of Eagles fans around here, though, are getting pretty excited for it, which is fun to see, but maybe not participate in.
When he said it feels like sophomore year again, I thought he was going to tell us that he still has 2 more years to go. Like he's got to go back and restart sophomore year.
A little Tommy Boy style, right? Just go back.
They're called doctors, Tommy.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever you want to keep cold, Tommy. Wonderful, wonderful. So, well, with that, boys, we do have some fun stuff to do. We are going to, for the audience out there, we are going to do a PNW Prop Stars, and we're going to do it our style, but it's going to be, of course, for the Super Bowls. Let me get this off. There we go. Thank you so much. And so we have it rocking, boys. So a couple things before we get going. Just this week, we had the Shrine Bowl standouts on the Seahawks podcast flagship, episode 460 that's out there. I think there was 11 different prospects that you, Adam and Brandon covered because they spent a week down in Dallas and did that for you. So go check out that episode. Lots of cool stuff there. And then Brandon, when is the all 22 review Kubiak attack coming out? When is that coming next?
I'll say this week.
This week. I love the zone.
That's a very definitive answer.
Well, either way. Yeah, it's going to be an awesome, it is an awesome review. So for the folks that are out there, you could look forward to that. You'll see it in your thread there soon. And the best way to get that, of course, is to go ahead and subscribe. So reminding folks, we would love you to subscribe. QR codes there, youtube.com/Seahawkers podcasts. And Brandon, I'm going to toss it back to you. What do we want to see happen with the members also? We got a new number we're chasing.
Yeah, we chased down 5,000 subscribers on YouTube, and now we're trying to chase down 500 members of the flock at getintheflock.com. It generally, when we're talking about getintheflock.com, it's paid memberships, but there's a free membership tier. So if you don't want to support monetarily necessarily, and you want to come in and be a free member, you get some email updates as to when the shows are coming out. And you can do that at getintheflock.com. Of course, we'd also like it if you help support the show, as we're going to be doing shows throughout the offseason.
There you have it. So do get involved. There's a freemium out there, but we do encourage you to if you can, spend a little bit, and value for value, then you'll be invited into the Discord and other perks that are going on basically all year long. There was a really interesting thread. I won't give it away. A text message today about something that might be happening in the April timeframe. Just careful, a little spicy. Could be a lot of fun, and you're going to want to be part of it. So make sure, getintheflock.com. Okay. So Brandon says he's champion. I like that. Adam says not enough attempts, just not going to qualify. No. But we do have to recognize that we did have a champion. 2024 champion, Prop Star champ is Sir Wilson Kahn. And the part that was really cool for me when I said, hey, Wilson, I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to put up this beautiful graphic. I said, is there anything you want to say, anything at all to the audience? And he just wrote back the words, smell the crown. And I was shocked he was able to trademark it this quickly. So Wilson, what do you want to tell people beyond smell the crown?
You know, I don't feel the need to enter into this petty dispute between Brandon and Adam over Brandon's qualifications because I'll let the facts speak for themselves in this case. So
You have the crown. I have more money in my pocket. That's fine.
Very good. Very good. Well, Wilson was the season-long champion, in spite of sleeping in a couple times, missing a few episodes here and there. That's okay. One of us is in college and 3 of us are not. So you can't blame a young man for that. And we are going to be going through this. So congrats, Wilson. You had a very good year. Adam and I, less than a good year. However, we'll be back fighting like heck next year to try and take it back. So by the way, that concluded year 3, which is also insane. And you are the PNW Prop Star champion 2 times, year 1, year 3. Adam, who never got the proper coronation, was year 2's champion. So Adam, anything you want to say now that a year plus has ticked away, but you were year 2 champion. What do you want to say?
Yeah, I'm just glad that it took this long to recognize my greatness in year 2. It didn't hurt my feelings at all. So, but I'm glad we're getting to it. Thanks for getting around to it, guys. Appreciate it finally. But yeah, for those of you who have not seen this show and you're tuning in because of Super Bowl bets, if you are a Seahawks fan, we do this every week throughout the season and we place prop bets on the Seahawks. So Clinton's got the format up here for you guys, and I'm sure he had an explanation here. And the explanation is, I usually do shitty at this, at least this year.
Yeah, and we made it a game, just like everything we do on the Seahawkers podcast network of shows. We want to do it in a unique fashion, and we thought this is a really cool way to analyze our Seahawks heading into games. And lots of folks are hitting those gambling apps nowadays, so why not already? So we came up with our own fun way to do it. $31. Brandon, pop quiz. Why do we do $31? What's the symbolism there?
DJ Dallas's old number.
DJ Dallas, not Cam Chancellor. Yes, it's Cam Chancellor, of course.
Right.
Bam, bam, Cam Chancellor. Yeah, exactly. A Super Bowl champion, and not DJ Dallas, although he did for some reason wear that number for far too long. It's all good.
Cam may not have a Super Bowl MVP, but he has our legendary number for our bets placed.
Yes, he really ought to have, perhaps him, perhaps Averill, but yeah, Malcolm Smith got it, and away you go. Hey, you score the pick 6, and maybe you get it. With that, we do 4 bets every single week. $31 is the total. The first bets, 1, 2, and 3, they're kind of your standard bets, $10 a pop. Anything on the board goes, negative, positive. It's up to you. The last bet is the $1, the Sunday rubber, the Sunday scratcher. $1 must be 1,200 or longer odds to qualify. And of course, we call that the Fail Mary. So golf rules. Wilson is the champion. Wilson, bet 1, down 1, Super Bowl Sunday. And you are coming out with not so much a big stick in terms of the odds of it all, but a statement bet for how you think this game is going to go. Wilson, what do you got?
Well, I'll keep it simple with you guys. Since this doesn't count for the tally for us, I'm going with what I want to see. And listen, I get specifically as Seahawks fans, right? We maybe don't like the Eagles very much. They're a conference opponent. We see them more often. They try to be the cooler bird team when the Seahawks are obviously superior. And the Chiefs, on the other hand, have prevented the 49ers from winning 2 Super Bowls in the last 4 seasons. 4 seasons? No, 5 seasons? Something like that. Anyways.
Something like that, yes.
Within a stretch of 4 seasons, but not within the last 4 seasons because of this year. Anyways, not important. The point is the Chiefs are an evil empire that needs to be destroyed. Whether or not it will happen is whether or not you believe the NFL is scripted. I personally choose to believe that they wouldn't stoop that low. And I think that the Eagles will pull out a win that some are not expecting. The books definitely have Chiefs as a slight favorite, at least on the money line here. So I'll do a little more than double my money for an Eagles win. It's really what I want to see. So I gotta hope for the best.
Well, plus 105. Eric is with you. Eric coming in live saying, I hope the Eagles win just because I'm sick of the chumps. And I did see today that like the NFL Ref Association, whatever they are, was like, they're like, we would never, it's hysterical. You would even suggest that. That's fine as well. So boys, before we go on, this is a pretty big bet. This is a game winning bet here. Eagles, they are the underdogs. Brandon, you feeling that the Birds could pull this off?
I think they have a chance, obviously, especially with Saquon Barkley playing as well as he had. I do have a question whether or not this Chiefs defense is going to be able to shut down Barkley, but we'll get into that with one of my upcoming bets.
We
Yeah,
sure will.
And I'll add, I mean, you've probably heard this conversation in the media about how the Eagles are pretty much better at every position than the Chiefs except quarterback. That's obviously a big difference, and people on the Eagles have sort of been saying, "Oh yeah, we're better at a lot of positions, but not quarterback," or not exactly in those words, but sort of dodging the fact that Hurts is not very good. I don't think Hurts is very good, but I think the team around him is enough to overcome Patrick Mahomes and his devil magic.
And it's like saying, is Russell Wilson a better quarterback than Peyton Manning? No, but we won 43-8.
Exactly.
Lovely recall there. So, Adam, I'm going to toss it to you for your first down bet, bud. Where are you going?
Well, I disagree with Wilson
Yes,
here.
you
I'm on
do.
board
Yes,
with
you
KC
do.
for this game. I'm not betting against Patrick Mahomes in a massive Super Bowl against a team. Are you okay? The Collinsworth chuckles just overcome you. You couldn't help it. I get it. But look, at the end of the day, I like the Chiefs in this game. So I'm gonna lay the 1.5, and it's a parlay party, boys. We're going all parlays because it's gonna be fun. This doesn't count against our deal for the season. So I do think Saquon's gonna have some success. He's a hell of a player. But I think Kansas City in this game, I think their defense is being unbelievably slept on. I mean, Wilson just saying that they're better at every position except quarterback. I was like, are you serious? Like, Chris Jones isn't better than Jalen Carter? Like, are you sure? I'm pretty sure that Chris Jones is better than Jalen Carter. He just gets talked about more because he's out on the East Coast. They're not better at receiver, I'll give you that, or running back. They're probably about the same at offensive line. And overall, I like their backers just as much as the Eagles. I like their secondary just as much as the Eagles. So I think this Chiefs defense, and I think they're going to be out coached. I love Spagnuolo way better than I like Fangio in a big game like this. So give the Chiefs -1.5. Saquon to score a tutty, and we'll go from there. 226, baby. Big odds for bet one.
Careful, spicy early. And of course, spicy early with us is our Ryan 911, our executive live producer with the 999 super chat. Man, there's that Dolph Lundgren commercial. It's what I think it's for FanDuel or the other one. And he busts into the restaurant and says, "This kicker doesn't miss." Well, I'll tell you right now, Ryan does not miss. Thank you, dude, for joining us at everything what we're doing out there. You are absolutely the man. So we got that $10. We could put that on something fancy. Brandon, by the way, Adam's talking about Spags and like this might be a good position. I know there's a certain linebacker on the Kansas City Chiefs that you have a lot of admiration for. Who's your boy that you really like as a linebacker?
Yeah, I've always liked Nick Bolton as a linebacker, and he's going to be a free agent this offseason. So we'll have to see. Generally, the Chiefs have struggled to pay top dollar to some of their position groups. I would think linebacker would be one of those positions that they would tend to skimp on. So Nick Bolton probably going to be available, and we'll probably see him flying all over the field against the Eagles on Sunday.
Yeah, he's also really good in coverage, he's a very good linebacker. He's extremely good in coverage. So if you see him dropping back in the drop hooks and he's covering Goddard or Devonta Smith over the middle there, Nick Bolton's the man. So keep an eye on him because he will be a free agent and you never know, right? And we got one more from Ryan saying, "I know you don't need the money since you're all going 4 for 4, but I like to support the show." Well, thank you, Ryan, for foreboding and foretelling us what's going to happen here. Because yes,
I figured Ryan just wanted to support the show so that way he can cover up Wilson's mug during the stream.
I thought the light was doing that for him to begin with. It's all right. So that brings us. Actually, Brandon, I got you going third because even though you showed up for a show, you did do better than me. Attempts or not, doesn't really matter. You're going third. Where are you taking us?
All right, we are going to go. See, it sounds like Adam has a theme that he has planned for his bets. I also have a theme with mine. When Captain Crunch came out with the "Oops, all crunch berries," I'm going "Oops, all unders," and I'm starting with bet one, Xavier Worthy under 6.5 rushing yards. And this one's a little bit tricky because They do like to run some jet sweeps with Worthy, but they've also they're also going against the Eagles, who have Jalen Carter, who likes to break through the line, tackle guys behind the line of scrimmage. And the Eagles have only given up in 2 games out of the regular season and the playoffs where they've allowed a wide receiver to average more than 6 yards per carry. That was Jaden Reed way back in week 1 against the Packers, and then Kavontae Turpin against the Cowboys in week 17. And if this is one of those things that the Chiefs may not run a whole lot of jet sweeps, but if they do, I like the chances of stopping Xavier Worthy.
Yeah. So Wilson, there was a lot of logic he laid out there. However, play 1, drive 1, little jet sweep to Worthy around the bend for 12. What do you think?
He's on mute. He doesn't think anything.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry about that. Trying to keep the noise of my radiator out of the stream, but it's quite cold in here. Surely not as cold as where Adam is, but it's getting there. So the thing about this bet is it's just not it stresses me out too much when I'm watching the game to have to worry the whole game about him getting the handoff. I do get the logic. I personally just don't like to take that kind of bet. Especially when it's an under and you're not rooting for things to happen. But I do get the logic.
Okay. All right. So the logic is sound. However, the stress not worth the squeeze is what we're hearing from the young man there. All right. So I'm up on my first down bet, guys. Look, Sirianni does weird things. Most NFL coaches do weird things. They chase points and chase ghosts when I don't think they should be chasing points. It's become the hot thing to go do. So all I need is a 2-point conversion at some point to be attempted, not made, not made, just attempted. So whatever, you get the half yard tush push one, doesn't, whatever it is, minus 110, basically even money. I think it just comes down to how many touchdowns do we get in general. I know it's 2 good defensive teams. However, they're indoors. They've been playing in bad elements since basically late November, essentially, both these teams. And now they get to go play in a nice cozy dome down in New Orleans. So I expect a few more touchdowns, and then I expect at least 1 2-point conversion. Adam, is Sirianni going to get this for me because he's chasing something?
Well, it sounds like you get it from either coach. So, yeah,
yes,
it does seem to be a trend in the NFL. It drives me nuts. I'm watching some of the games over the wild card weekend and all through the playoffs and just being like, dude, just kick the freaking extra point. And like a lot of times in those games, we're like, boy, sure would be nice to have those 2 extra points. So from a couple extra point attempts. Yeah, I like it. I mean, it's even money. It's boring as hell, though.
I don't find it boring. Do you find this boring?
I mean, I can't really knock it because I'm taking all unders, which are generally boring too. But I just feel like, yeah, this is based on the way the season's going, based on the teams that we've seen, especially in the playoffs. They like to attempt 2-point conversions, and easy money isn't boring.
That's right. You don't go broke taking a profit. And boy, did I learn that this year.
You're busting on this for sure. Easy money, free money. You're screwed now.
Yeah. No doubt. Okay, talking about screwed, Adam, you're up on your second down bet. Take us away.
Yeah, when you say screwed, you must mean like just screwed by having all the money just flow my direction.
The money, yes.
Yeah.
Flowing.
Look, I'm not a Jalen Hurts guy, and I know he played fairly well in the last Super Bowl that he was in, but he has regressed since then. That was, I think, the best we're ever going to see of Jalen Hurts. I think that the Chiefs have an opportunity to make this team one-dimensional and not stop Saquon per se, but slow it down enough to where they're going to have to throw the ball a little bit. Like, people just act like the Chiefs defense doesn't exist and they're not a good defense. They've been a good defense for 2 years now.
Their defense is awesome.
And if they have to put the ball in Hurts' hands even a little bit, I think he's going to throw a pick. I really do. And Juju, he's not often used, but just 2 receptions throughout the game. They're going to be throwing the ball a little bit more, I think, with the defensive line for the Eagles being as good as they are and trying to keep the pressure off of Patrick Mahomes, they're going to have a hard time running the football. So they're going to have to throw the football a little bit more, I think, is what I was trying to say. And so with that, I think Juju gets his 2 receptions. Hurts with the pick. Juju 2 receptions plus 286. It's a fatty. And the second one of my parlay party. And look, man, I can't wait to go laughing all the way to the bank with this one.
I'm seeing lots of head shaking. I'll go to Wilson first. He seems, adamantly saying, no, this ain't happening. But what is it? Both parts? Is it one part? What part's eating you?
It's the Hurts part. I don't think he's a very good quarterback, but he has one interception since October 1st. He does not turn the ball over like that. And the play action game is going to be wide open enough with Saquon that I don't think he's going to have to put the ball in risky situations. I think Juju will get the ball, but I don't like the interception part of this.
All right. And Brandon, looks like you agree with that. Maybe your Boomer Sooner pride coming through.
Well, he has 5 picks all season. And
remember when Herbert had 3 picks all season and then threw 5 in his first playoff game? Remember
I mean,
that
if you want to count on that, if you want to bet on it, that's
no, I'm not betting on 5. I'm betting on 1.
All right. The part that maybe is more sprawling to me might be the Juju getting 2, but they do like to spread the ball around. Speaking of sprawling, Brandon, Adam did mention containing in the beginning of that soliloquy there. He did say just containing Saquon. Well, one way to contain Saquon is to make sure he doesn't get that many attempts. You got something here. Take it away.
Yeah, the thing I was going to say, if you're going to bet on Jalen to do something, I think I would lean toward the over on rushing attempts, because the one thing that they do is if they are leaning towards shutting down Saquon, and I think that's what the Chiefs are going to try and do, then you're going to end up with more attempts by Jalen Hurts running the ball, and he is definitely more apt to run the football when he doesn't see anything open than to try and squeeze it into a window. So, but I am doing all unders. I would have taken the over on the rushing attempts had I done any overs, but I'm going under 21.5 rushing attempts for Saquon Barkley.
It felt like to me when I saw this come across. Adam, toss it to you quickly. Yeah, man. How do you? That's how it hit me. Hit me as like, ooh, this feels light to begin with. What do you think? Why is Vegas only putting this at about 21.5?
Yeah, I'm not sure what he averaged throughout the season, but in terms of attempts, I'm sure it was quite a few. But with that said, it's kind of taken into effect the Chiefs offense and being able to put up some points. I know they haven't been as explosive as they have in past years, but it's a Super Bowl. It's a big game. This is what they save up for all year. I think they're going to unleash some stuff. Andy Reid's always got some creative stuff. They could get up early, and Eagles are going to have to throw the ball a little bit, and Jalen Hurts will throw a pick, and Saquon will go under 21.5 rushing yards. I mean, minus 109, anti-spicy, but that's okay.
It's hard when you're picking unders to be spicy at all, but 21.5 is his average per game throughout the regular.
They're right on that. Okay, well, interesting enough. Well, I would think they lean into Saquon more, but that would also dictate a close game. But Vegas has it at minus 1.5, so they're predicting a close game. So this one's tough for me with that logic there. One that is not too tough for me is I was able to tease these both ways down and then take the overs. Mahomes, I think they have them at like 250. Hurts, I think it's around 212. So I was able to kind of dial it with inside the app and say I want Mahomes over 215 yards passing, Hurts over 185 yards passing. Basically gets me to break even money at minus 101. The logic for me is simply that they're playing indoors, and that helps due to pass the ball. And it's going to be just a cleaner game because they're playing inside the dome. So that's that. Wilson, I know you got some things coming up about Hurts' ceiling, but 185, let's clear that hurdle first. What do you think?
I'm iffier on the Hurts side of this. I don't hate the 185, but I mean, the first 2 playoff games, when they get Saquon going, they just don't need to throw the ball. Hurts was, I think, around 120, 130 in each of those first 2 games. So if you think it's going to be the kind of game where Saquon is having a harder time and they need to go through the air more, I think this makes sense. I personally don't feel like that's what's going to happen, but I don't hate it either.
All right. Any other takes, boys, from either of y'all?
I will point out that Jalen Hurts did throw for 311 yards when they played in New Orleans at the Superdome week 3.
Ooh, there you go. Week 3, and clearly matters. Adam, that's some math that we probably got to believe, yeah?
Oh, absolutely, because they played the Chiefs in that game, right? Yeah, okay, yeah. Look, I think Wilson brought up a great point about the very few yards that they've had Jalen Hurts throw for in the majority of their playoff victories here this year. And to me, they're hiding the guy just like they tried to hide Jimmy Garoppolo with the 49ers a few years ago. And you come up short because you have a quarterback that's bad. The 185 scares me a little bit. That seems like a high number for a guy who they just don't trust.
Wow. Yeah. I want to be on the record and just say, I do not think Jalen Hurts is at all a bad quarterback. I don't think I think he's a pretty good quarterback. And I think
He's
can
a good
throw the
running
ball.
back.
He throws the ball just fine, man. All right. Well,
Best throwing running back out there. You're right.
I want to be on the record that somebody in this podcast actually thinks Jalen Hurts is a pretty good quarterback, and I give the guy a good amount of props. I think he's a pretty good NFL player, man. All right, so that does allow Wilson to keep telling us why I'm wrong. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm with Adam. I don't think Hurts is that good, and I don't think he's going to turn over the ball, like I said. But I don't think they trust him to go big in the passing game, and I actually don't think they'll need him to. As I've been saying, I think it's going to be a huge day for Saquon, and there will really be no need for Hurts to get to this number. Again, after what I saw in the first two playoff games, it's not going to be easy for the Eagles. I think the Chiefs defense is pretty solid. I think Spagnuolo's obviously at his best in these kinds of big games. But I think just with the plan that the Eagles are going to have, and I think they're going to be able to execute on that plan with Saquon, that I don't think Hurts is going to get towards this number, and I don't think it's going to be necessary for him to even try to.
All right, Brandon, you know where I'm at. I think we know where Adam's at. We clearly know where Wilson's at. Where's your Boomer Sooner heart at?
I didn't want to go on a Hurts passing yards bet just because it feels it's so much more of how the game dictates it. And if they get Barkley going, which it absolutely could happen, that seems likely. If Hurts runs the football a lot, like that also seems likely, especially with the defensive backs that the Chiefs have. So under is probably the safer one that I would go at, despite it being in a dome. But I also think that Hurts is a really good quarterback, and if they get behind early, he could throw it out of necessity and bust 211 yards pretty easy.
All right, so we got two guys who think he's at least a pretty darn good quarterback, and two guys think that he's subpar, and one guy who just thinks he's a running back, which is fine. All right, so 19.5 times, Brandon, 19.5 times the times that Taylor Swift may be on TV, but you're going under again, not Taylor Swift, but with Kelce. Talk about it.
Yeah, this is his long reception. So Travis Kelce, for him, he's a little on the older side. He's a little bit on the slower side. I think that the linebackers and defensive backs, they're going to be all over Travis Kelce and trying to limit him to under 20 yards on any one catch. So I just think that his longest catch of the day is relatively unlikely to be 20 yards or more. So I'm taking the under.
Taking the under again. Tough one to argue one way or another, like if this will come true. But Adam, for you, do you side anywhere, and do you have any reasons as to why you think he goes over or stays under?
I think Kelce's going to have a big day, but I like this bet a lot. I think he's going to do that by compiling a lot of receptions for a decent amount of yards rather than having a great game breaker. He's the ultimate possession receiver right now, and they've been saving him all year for this moment right here. Could be his last game. I think Kelce's going to have a big game, but Brandon's right. As far as stretching the field, I'm not sure that he's going to produce any huge explosives that are 20 yards plus.
And a couple other things that I did want to say too before Wilson, if he wants to jump in.
Sure.
The Eagles defense allows about 8.5 yards per reception to tight ends on the season. And also they are top 5 in the league in fewest catches allowed to tight ends.
Yeah, they swarm pretty well. So Wilson, one word answer, which is your specialty sometimes. Does he hit it or not?
Scripted.
Wonderful. All right. So going anti-script and clearly anti some of these folks in this podcast. Look, Patrick Mahomes to win the MVP is like plus 110, the clear, leader in the clubhouse, if you will, the lowest money you possibly can make. But there is another quarterback on the field, boys, I think the Eagles win this game, and I think Jalen Hurts has a good shot to be this game's MVP. And
This isn't the Fail Mary?
no, it is not. Not
The odds should
35
be closer to that. Yeah.
not 3,500. And the reason being is that, hey, like you said, Adam, Jalen Hurts is a pretty darn good running back. I think he's also a pretty good quarterback, but he could do a lot of damage with his legs. I could see him scoring a couple of times through air or through his legs and carrying the team if it's not Saquon, right? So I like Jalen to win the MVP. Obviously, I know what the peanut gallery thinks with Adam. Brandon, Boomer Sooner, what do you think? Is there a shot here? Yes, it's just a spicy 300.
I mean, there's a shot. I just feel like if the Eagles are going to win, they really are going to have to do it on the back of Saquon Barkley. And he just seems like the more likely, or, if there's some amazing plays on defense, I guess I could see it could definitely happen. And 350, it's probably about right in terms of where the betting market, I feel like it should be higher.
It's pretty spicy, like I said there. And Wilson, all I'm going to do is put your next bet up here because it allows you to talk about, hey, if you get this next bet right, the chances of my MVP, they do go down a little bit. So talk about your boy Saquon.
Yeah, listen, he's been having a hot start in these playoffs, ripping off long 50-plus yard touchdowns. I get it. It's the Chiefs, but the role that he's on right now is being severely understated, I think, in the analysis of this game. I don't even know how that's possible because he almost he very could have easily broken the NFL rushing record. I get it. It's one extra game, whatever. He could have easily broken the NFL rushing record in the last game of the season. He's been unstoppable in the playoffs. This was the shortest odds for the first TD. He's also the shortest odds for any time, unsurprisingly. Frankly, first TD bets can be a little bit shaky. I think in this game, it honestly might just depend on who wins or loses the coin toss and is able to defer and play defense first. But I just can't. I feel like I can't bet against Saquon right now, and I want the Eagles to win, so I got to go in his favor too here. He's been unstoppable.
Well, I got to say, comparatively to my MVP bet, this getting another plus 100 feels a little bit more logical, right? So I have a little bit of shame, but I'll wear that with my bet previous. Adam, when I looked at the over under for Saquon yards, 111 yards. That's where Vegas is placing Saquon. And if I look at, they say, okay, 21 and a half attempts, 111 yards, they're figuring 5+ a carry. So what do you think of Wilson's bet here that one of those carries is the first touchdown of the game?
I mean, if you're going to bet on first TDs, which are, like Wilson said, shaky and make me nervous, he's the best bet on the board for that. It didn't make me think that this show was a comedy special like your MVP bet. That was hilarious. But with that said, look, the over under 100 and whatever it was 111 for the rushing yards. I think he could run for $130 and they could still easily lose.
Okay. All right, Brandon, how about you? Do you think, do you see if it's not Saquon, let's say it's an Eagle and it's not Saquon, who's getting the end zone first?
Jalen Hurts. Yeah.
Because
if it's going to be like a tush push type touchdown, then, and I think there were better odds on Hurts. I think it was in the plus 500s. So that one was interesting to me. I also looked at DeAndre Hopkins on the Chiefs side as the first touchdown because it was almost in Fail Mary territory. It might have been Fail Mary territory, and just because the emotional aspect of DeAndre Hopkins, a Hall of Fame wide receiver, playing in his first Super Bowl, like Patrick Mahomes, maybe a little bit of sentimentality there. He's talked about bringing his mom to the game. His dad, I think, passed away a long time ago, but she's going to be there rooting him on. The D-Hop first touchdown was a little bit intriguing to me.
I like how you got there, and that Kansas City wide receiver room is it's just weird, right? I mean, it's weird. You got D-Hop, you got Marquise Brown. And like you said, D-Hop he's going to be a Hall of Famer. Marquise Brown's not a Hall of Famer, but a very, very good long career and a burner. Then you got Xavier Worthy, then you got Kelce, and then you got other players as well. Just an interesting, and Juju, who's got to go get 2 receptions. Wow. Very weird combination. And yet here they are again. But let's see, Adam, you are taking some love on one of those wide receivers with a three-way parlay. So take it away for bet 3 at a careful plus 575. What do you got?
Yeah, so every quarter TD, I'm going with no. This is a three leg parlay here for plus 575, as Clinton said. So a big swing because it takes big balls to get blue chips. And so with two really good defenses, I think that there's a decent chance that there's not going to be a TD in every single quarter. Like I could see one quarter going by without a TD.
Sure.
The second part of this, Xavier Worthy with 15 plus rushing yards. I can't put into words how much I hated Brandon's earlier bet because I think the logic behind it stinks. Like at the end of the day, what are they going to do? They're going to run Kareem Hunt like into the middle of that Eagles defensive line over and over and over again? No. And they're not going to drop back and pass all the time either. They use that jet sweep motion a lot with Xavier Worthy. It'd get him to the edge. And I think the way you attack that Philly defense is stretch them out laterally. And it's something the Chiefs do well. I could see him getting two nice touches, ripping off one that's pretty good, like 12 yards, and another shorter one, getting to that 15. And that's not a huge number either, 15 yards. And then both teams to score in the fourth quarter. I'm going to say yes, because I think this is going to be a close game, probably like a 3-point game. And when that happens, usually both teams at least score a field goal.
All right.
So,
Well, Brandon,
plus 575.
575. You got there. Brandon, he called you out by name. So what do you want to say about Adam's logic here to put these three things into the blender?
I mean, it's definitely a risk, but the amount of times that Xavier Worthy has gone over 15 yards throughout this entire season, yes, he did it against Buffalo. He had 2 carries for 16 yards. You go back a game against Cleveland, he had 3 carries for 30. And then the only other time he's done it this season was week 1 against Baltimore, where he had 1 carry for 21 yards. So I choose to bet against things that generally happen more often than they don't. And Adam is taking a risk with this one, which I understand. I mean, that's a spicy bet, but it happens so rarely. I don't know if I'd count on it in a 3-leg parlay.
Yeah, for sure. Well, as you choose that, I'm going to choose to move on to the Fail Mary plus 1,200 or longer odds. Of course, it is it is the Sunday Scratcher, the Sunday Rubber. Everybody calls it that already. So again, $1. Why not already? Wilson, you're back on the tee box. 2 good defenses. This is Thunderdome style, my man. I'm sure you know. Let's ask real quick. Mad Max Fury Road. You've seen that movie?
Yes, I have.
Yes. Okay. Have you watched Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome? You're young, but did that ever come across your screen?
I've seen all the Mad Max movies. Yeah.
There you go. All right. 2 men enter, 1 man leave Beyond Thunderdome. So we got 2 great defenses. And tell us why this is going to happen.
Well, my honest reasoning here is I couldn't really find a Fail Mary that I loved, and I wanted to put forward a little bit of an homage here. Obviously, two days ago, we celebrated the 11th anniversary of the Seahawks Super Bowl win, which I don't know if I've ever told you guys this, but it gave me infinite hakra because the Seahawks won the Super Bowl on my 12th birthday. It was my 12th birthday in 2014.
You can still remember that? You were just fresh out the womb. Like, I don't even remember anything.
Yeah, so with that in mind, I'd love to see a snap over either quarterback's head and reminisce about the good old days.
Love that. I think we owe you a happy birthday because obviously that was just a couple days ago.
Thank you.
Now, then I know you were 20, so 22, huh? 22 years old, yeah?
23 now.
23. Well, I missed a year. These things happen.
It's called math. One of us didn't go to Princeton, or 3 of us.
And it shows. Yeah, and it really, really shows. All right, well, look, again, two good defenses, maybe some good punt games, and away you go. So not a bad for plus 1,400. It is a Sunday Rubber after all. Adam, you are back into the blender, my man. You're putting the concoctions together, Tom Cruise style cocktail. What is in this cocktail?
Big time players make big time plays in big time games. The Chiefs are going to go ahead and cap off the 3-peat and put their hold on to a chunk of greatness that no other team has done in the Super Bowl era. And to do that, I think they're going to need big games from the stars. And like I said, I think Kelce, they've been keeping him under wraps for the most part throughout the year. They haven't really had to, lean on him heavy. I could see him having a nice big day in terms of yardage, but again, in smaller chunks. Mahomes getting to 225. I mean, come on, it's Patrick Mahomes. And then Chris Jones to have 2+ sacks, because I do think he's the best defensive lineman in the league, and he never gets talked about. He never gets. We talk about TJ Watt. We talk about Jalen Carter. We talked about Aaron Donald for years. And Chris Jones just comes out and makes critical, huge, big-time sacks in big-time moments. 2+ sacks for a dominant game. They hoist the Lombardi, and they go for the three-peat. Taylor Swift cries.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it. This is Superstars come out at night, like you said. And
I just have a question about this. How does Chris Jones get 2 sacks if Philadelphia is playing without a quarterback?
Well, I mean, they make the running back play quarterback. It still counts. And Jalen Hurts won't throw it out of bounds. He'll run one out of bounds, and Chris Jones will be closest. Like, he'll get credit for it. There's one right there. Yeah.
He won't throw it away, and then I'll yell at it. However, what I love about this next Fail Mary, it's not even mine, but I love it because when it comes true, then so does my Super Bowl MVP bet. Brandon, take it away, man.
Well, not necessarily, because one of the reasons why this happened, and part of this is recency. 3 rushing TDs. Jalen Hurts did this just last week against the Commanders, but he also had 3 rushing TDs against the Chiefs the last time they faced each other in the Super Bowl.
In New Orleans. Oh, sorry.
No. He didn't get Super Bowl MVP because the Eagles lost. But I just like the poetic nature of, once again, Jalen Hurts scoring 3 touchdowns against the Chiefs and getting a spicy 1,800 to do it.
Yeah, I look, you laid out the times it's happened, plus 1,800, not so bad. And of course, you get down to the 1 or 2 yard line, and he's going to get the football. Like, he's going to be the guy. So Wilson, 3's a lot, 3's company here, but plus 1,800, not bad for the squeeze. What do you think?
I really like this one, just because of having to, agonizingly watch all these tush pushes. I just feel like the Eagles have that down, and they like to do it around the goal line. As you mentioned, they got it done in the last game. So I think these are pretty good odds. I also liked Adams a lot, minus the Chris Jones portion. The Eagles gave up major volume to Ertz in the last game. And I could definitely see that happening with a fellow washed tight end in Kelce.
Yeah, we saw lots of tight ends. Obviously Andrews had his moment there, but Ertz was super busy. He had a good, really resurgent end of his year, and then had a good playoff. He came out and said that he's not retiring, so he's looking to stay with the Commanders. And Kelce is just doing playoff Kelce things. So yeah, I don't mind it either. All right, boys. So obviously I got the last one here, and I am saving the best for last, because look, if it's not Jalen Hurts, if he's not going to catch the MVP, well, then this other player surely will. And the reason that Cooper DeJean is getting the MVP at plus 20,000 is because he's taking a pick 6 back to the house. But he also, what else does Cooper DeJean do for the Eagles? Adam, what else does he do?
Does he play white corner? Like, is that what he does?
He is a white corner, and he does play corner for the Eagles. I'm not sure there's a position called white corner. Like, hey,
no, there is.
Hey guys,
there's like 3 of them in the league.
He's a diversity hire.
Yeah, it's like, hey,
he's a DEI hire.
Hey, every team, you got to play a white corner, and they're like, we got Cooper DeJean, we got a leg up on you. Yeah. So I don't think there's a position called white corner yet. However. Yeah. However, does anybody else know what Cooper DeJean does do for the Eagles?
He's a returner.
He is a punt returner, sometimes kickoff returner. So, and if the Eagles are going to pull it off, I think they will pull it off. And I think if they do pull it off, the way they'll do it is maybe with a little special teams sauce, right? Let something happen in there. So, hey, this is bet $1 to win $200. Bet a little to win a lot. Malcolm Smith, where are you at? Cooper DeJean, come on down. MVP. Brandon, you're smiling.
I'm smiling because I'm just picturing the week 3 executive orders from Donald Trump, and one of them being establishing the white corner position for all NFL teams.
You must have a white corner. Yes.
Yeah. They call it the DeJean rule. Yeah. I hope you get this one though, man. Plus 20,000. That would be exciting.
That would be.
How did you find these bets this week, Curtin? Did you just put up a dartboard with names on it and just chuck, darts at it? Like, what'd you do?
Mate, well, look, it's Super Bowl week, right? And
look at that, Phil Mary. Oh, Oh, Cooper DeJean. Here we go.
I'm a fan of Cooper DeJean. He's pretty darn good.
Yeah.
All right, so Wilson, besides him just being a white corner, can you close your eyes and picture him taking a pick six back, and when it happens, being like, "Wow, he might be MVP. He might be."
No.
Hey, it's happened.
I wish I could support you on this, Clinton, because you know who I want to win this game. But
yeah, I got it. Hey, that's why it's a Sunday Rubber Boys. That's why it's there. All right, so to close out, guys, reminder that we got a new episode that came out just a couple days ago, recapping the Shrine Bowl, episode 460, the flagship. Please go check that out. I think it's some great stuff there. And then, of course, sometime this week, the Kubiak attack. I think it's the only all 22 that you're going to need to get a good flavor of what Kubiak is doing out there. And I think to get a lot more excited about why he is why he's going to take us to a next new level. So boys, as we close this out, obviously we want folks to subscribe and do all that already. We very much appreciate it. But what are we doing for the Super Bowl? Importantly, what's going down? Wilson, starting with you, you're the champ. You're over in Princeton, hanging out with friends, hanging out by yourself. What you got planned?
Yeah, I'll be with friends. I briefly flirted with the idea of going to Philadelphia to watch this game, but I value my life.
Smart call. Adam, how about you, bud?
Hey, that's that big brain Princeton education coming up. Roses for him right there. Yeah, don't go to Philly. Don't do that. Yeah, I'm going to be at the cabin, and if I do it right, I'm going to be more or less alone, and maybe crush some beers. It's going to be great. Yeah, just me, myself, and I in the foot of snow that fell out there today.
There you go.
Time.
So
yeah.
beers, lots of snow, mountains, the whole thing ready. Ollie the dog, of course, will be there with them.
Ollie the mountain dog. Yep.
Yeah, and Brandon, you got some family coming. What are you doing, my man?
It is all about staying warm because if you look outside, it is in single digits, and I think I want to stay inside and be warm. I don't want to go anywhere.
No, Snuzzly Brandon is one of my favorite Brandons. There's lots of Brandons I love, and Snuzzly indoor Brandon's definitely one of them. So
Spoonie Brandon number 2.
Yeah. After our trip to Dallas, can confirm Snuzzly Brandon is the best.
He's great. I'm gonna have my fam over, so getting my dad over here with my brother and his family, and we'll just be watching. So just having some fun, eating some wings with my family, their family, and my pops. And it'll be some fun for sure. So looking forward to it, and just kind of lay it low and keeping it local. So be a lot of fun. Well, boys, this was fun. Wilson, congratulations once again on turning 23. Congratulations on your second PNW Prop Star champion in the year 2024. And boys, in the year 2025, I am going to take my first crown of the year, and you're going to see it. This is going to be a little foretelling of what's to come when I've got the MVP trophy in my corner and I take this week.
I think that has Cooper DeJean odds.
Yeah, I was just going to make that joke.
And I think with that,
there's only one thing left to say.
Go Hawks.
Go. I don't know, Jim. Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.